Hello, hello. Welcome, folks. Glad to have you today. I'm excited to be here with you. My name's Joanna Holmes, and today we are going to be covering Release Wave 2 in Power Platform. So lots of good stuff for us to see in Wave 2 for everything around the Power Platform. So that's going to include Copilot Studio, Power Apps, Power Pages, all sorts of good stuff that we will take a look at. What we can expect in the months from October into spring of 2026. What are these features we can expect to see? I'm going to go ahead and get started, do an introduction to Boyer, who we are as an organization. If you've not worked with us before, our mission is really to help organizations have those digital solutions for ERP, CRM, Power Platform, and now also AI solutions, because of course that is the direction and where we are headed. So that's what we're here for, to help businesses go through those digital transformations, be there as partners with them as they're walking through this Microsoft landscape together with us. We've been in the business 30 years now. We've won some awards, and we love our customers that we work with. So that's who we are as an organization. What I have prepared for us today, agenda wise, is really just going over all the different facets of the Power Platform. So, like I was saying, we're gonna start off with deprecations, our dearly departed, who we're saying goodbye to. What are those features? What are their replacements? And then we will also get into Power Apps, what's coming, Power Pages, Power Automate, Copilot Studio, Dataverse, and also governance and administration. So kind of the whole tool set we use as administrators and makers of apps and solutions. What are the things that we can find to help make these solutions for ourselves? I like to highlight, there's a lot in the release notes. I like to highlight the things that are coming soon. So there's a lot of things that are October, November, anything that has a green check on the release notes. Microsoft will put a green check when, yes, this feature is available and alive now. So we like to go over those as we go through those release notes. Speaking of release notes, if you have not used it yet or haven't seen it, I highly recommend releaseplans.microsoft.com. You can just go to the release notes and kind of read through the digital version. Heck, you can even download them if you're more of a print and read and highlight person. I personally like the release planner because it's kind of like my digital notebook for the release. I have the ability to see what's coming. I see those dates, gives me links to those documentations. There's some nice filters here. And again, I can save things as favorites because there's a lot of stuff here, but I won't all apply to me. So again, this is a chance for me to pin and highlight the things I care about, when they're coming, how do I see all of this. Release plans is just a really nice way to sort of organize yourself around all of this information that comes up with the Power Platform when we get a new release announcement. So again, I would definitely recommend bookmarking that one. Start using this functionality. I find it to be helpful when I am trying to be a system administrator for someone. All right, let's talk about our dearly departed deprecations first. What are the things we are saying goodbye to in the Power Platform, or in this case of the first one, have already said goodbye to? In August, we lost some functionality in Power Automate, but not really. It's just changed a little bit. So we used to have this functionality that you could format your data by examples. This was something in Power Automate that you could use. That feature has been deprecated, but only because we have Copilot now. So instead of having to format my data by examples, I'm just going to use natural language and expressions in order to tell Power Automate how I need my data structured. So there's no impact if you've used this in the past. That's okay. It doesn't wreck anything that you built using that or formatted that way. It's just a feature that is hidden now. Instead, the recommendation is to use the expression assistant in Power Automate. So in the designer, you can use this expression editor. Again, this will help me create, update, fix expressions with the Copilot expression assistant. This is something we'll actually talk about a little bit later on in our slides. So some cool functionality here, again, using Copilot to replace this old feature functionality that we had. In September, we are needing to transition over. We have until November 15th, so you still have some time. If you are using Viva Engage, that old Yammer connector support for OAuth 2, we need to move over to Entra. So Entra is the new, and so we need our connections to be using that new Entra ID authentication. Existing OAuth connectors still working right now, but again, by November 15th, we should be changing everything over to Entra IDs when we're working with that Viva Engage connector. October 1st, so at the beginning of last month, we lost the ability to do contact tracking with the Dynamics 365 app for Outlook. I don't know that a ton of people use this functionality. That's probably why it's going away. You had the ability in the application to say, okay, I have this Outlook contact. I would like to make them a contact in Dynamics. So that was something you could do in the Outlook Classic desktop app. In the new Outlook, there is no replacement for that. Users should just use the add contacts to Dynamics 365 sales. So you can still do that while you're in Outlook. I open up the pane, and when I have an email that I've selected, I can choose to turn that email address into a contact. There's also the little plus sign. I can use the quick create and just add a contact that way too. I don't have to have an email from someone. So there is still that functionality there. It's just the classic way we used to do it, isn't there anymore, but we can still add contacts into D365. October 21st, so just a couple weeks ago, we used to have this functionality that I could make a Power App from an image or from something called a Figma file. That is also going away because there's some new functionality here replacing it. So you won't be able to use this functionality anymore where I can't just have like a mock-up image that Figma file, like I was saying, to create my new app. If you use this functionality, your app is still going to work just fine. No impact there. It's just that going forward, we're going to use plans and generative pages to create new apps. We'll talk about plans a little bit today too, but again, have those links on the slide if you want to dive into that functionality that's kind of replacing this that we see here. In January, so in a couple months here, deep links for Power Apps Mobile must include environment IDs. So first of all, let's talk about what the heck is a deep link. Deep links let users move from one application to another on a computer and on mobile devices. So some examples of deep links might be you include a mobile app linking to Facebook to have somebody sign in, or you have an email address in your app, and when someone clicks on it, it opens a mail app to start composing their message, or a deep link to an app store to download the related mobile app. So as makers, we could embed those, and we can still embed those into our apps. It's just now I have to make sure I'm including an environment ID as a parameter when I'm setting those up. So for model-driven apps, the app logical name is also required when I'm adding a deep link into my model-driven app. And again, I want to make sure I'm updating my links to avoid disruptions. Just again, if I'm using that kind of deep link functionality in any of my current apps, again, just want to update those to include that environment ID. If you're like, deep links sound kind of cool, I'm not using them right now, but would like to, again, we have that link at the bottom of the slide that'll walk you through how you set them up with that environment ID. All right, so those are the dearly departed, the things we are saying goodbye to. Let's talk about what's new and exciting, and we're going to start off with Power Apps. So let's look at what's coming in Wave 2 for Power Apps. One thing that I can do, starting, we don't have any green checks yet. I did recheck some of these, so it's coming. We're very close to general availability for this. The ability to create offline profiles in Maker Studio for Canvas apps. So in the past, when I was making a Canvas app, I would have to make my app and then pop over to the Power Platform Admin Center and set up my mobile configuration. Starting in November, once we get those green checks, we won't need to do that anymore. I don't need to go to that admin center and create that offline profile for my Canvas mobile apps. Instead, I can create my offline profiles in the app designer. So if you've used that app designer, there's a spot for app settings. And in those app settings, we're also going to see how we can create that offline profile. So it's nice to keep, hey, I'm building here. I want to just stay here and finish. I don't have to go somewhere else in Power Platform Admin Center to finish that off. So both model driven and Canvas apps, again, are going to get some new features to control the sync and improve that user experience for anybody who's able to use my app while they are maybe offline or not connected to the internet. What do I allow them to do while they're offline? So that configuration moving into the Maker Studio, so I don't have to, bounce back and forth between those two experiences. So that's kind of some nice functionality for us as makers. All right, let's talk about process maps. So I mentioned there's these things called plans. Plans are a way for us to sort of fast track solution design. So I'm gonna have Copilot help me build an end-to-end Power Platform solution using Copilot. So what we're using here are these plans, and we can also add something to them called process maps. Again, we have this in public preview right now, but it will become generally available here in the month of November. So what we have with a process map is it's basically a process diagram. It's going to be this visual aid to help show what we're planning to update and how the current tools and processes will support those goals. So again, this is going to give us some clarity, allowing us to align technically with our technical teams and our business needs. And again, being able to start visualizing these workflows in a process diagram can help prevent miscommunication across those teams. And again, give us clear endpoints and the resources that we're going to need as we're building this solution. So plans, again, in Power Apps, it allows makers to describe the business challenge, add visuals, talk about what our current process is. I would say give it enough information, but if you give it your entire process, it is going to be recreating the wheel. So maybe give it less to start, see what it comes up with. But again, we're using Copilot here to do the heavy lifting and generate a tailored plan with our requirements, our data insights, and some solution architecture that we can use to, again, help us fast track building that end-to-end Power Platform solution we might need to solve some of our business needs. So we are adding in this functionality of process maps to plans. So plans are here. It's just now we are getting these process maps with them. So if we are a maker, we get kind of this visual representation of that business workflow with the requirements, the data, that solution architecture. And again, that process map is going to outline the key activities, events, decisions, things that can be refined, again, using Copilot's natural language and modeling capabilities, again, to sort of get us that head start on building our solution. So some cool functionality that we have here, again, leveraging Copilot to help us use the full functionality of Power Platform tools. Exciting stuff. This one, if you sat in on last week's session, we did talk about this one. Smart Paste is a way for us to use something that I have copied. In this case, in my screenshot, I have a Word document that I've highlighted. I can paste that into my form in my app, and it's going to use Copilot and AI to say, hey, this looks like an email address. I'm going to put this in the email field. When you are using Smart Paste and it's pasting that information into a form, you can see in my screenshot, it'll highlight it in blue. So it's like, hey, I think this is where this information needs to live. So that helps me with data entry as an end user. I can just paste this document that has all this information directly into my form and it'll fill it out for me. I do still have the agency as a human to say, you did not put this in the right field. I can overwrite it and put in the information myself instead. Or I do have the ability to say, yep, looks good, and then accept those suggestions basically that Copilot has given me for my Smart Paste. So if you want to learn more about that, link again at the bottom of the slide. The other piece that we have here, we also talked about last week, but again, just want to talk about it from a Power Platform perspective, was the Form Fill Assist. And you're maybe thinking, isn't that what that was, the Smart Paste? This is a little different. So with Smart Paste, I was just like highlighting text and Control C, Control V over in Dynamics. Here, I'm actually uploading files, emails, or images into the Form Fill Assist. I'm going to give it that document and say, do your best with this. Fill out this form with this information that I've given you. It works pretty well. I took a picture of a business card and saved it as a JPEG, dragged it over here, filled out my form for me with all of the information from the business card. So again, it's just using AI to extract those key details from that file, from that image, and again, fill out those forms for me. This functionality, this is something you can enable for your end users. Again, it's in public preview right now, has been since February. It will be generally available in December, but if you want to turn it on now and have folks work with it now, that link down at the bottom will show you how you can enable that feature in your model-driven apps, again, to help your end users with some of that tedious data entry. We also have the ability within a model-driven app to visualize data with Copilot. So if I'm in a view, I do have this little visualize button. Again, this will be something in general release in December, so coming in a month or two here. This is a feature that, again, we enable as administrators in the Power Platform Admin Center for our users to be able to use. But what it does is it's basically, again, using Copilot and the filters and columns that I've set up in my view and have it make me a cool visualization. So I click that visualize button, and then it's going to give me basically a chart, and then along with that view that I was working with, that information. I can drill into this chart. It's kind of like a cheater mode on making those dynamics charts or those model-driven charts that we have. I'm just going to use Copilot to help me with that instead. I can still, like I said, drill into that data in the chart. I can also personalize it by changing the chart type and legend. So it really is kind of a tool that I can use to make these easy visualizations. So again, I can personalize it, make it my own, and then I'm basically saving time and getting to those insights that I need more quickly because I'm using Copilot to help me. So really as simple as the click of a button, it can build that chart type for me. I can adjust it if I need to, and then I can also expand that chart. I could copy it to the clipboard so I can take a screenshot and share it with other team members. But again, just kind of that quick visualization to get to the insights that I'm looking for. All right, let's switch gears and talk about the Power Platform. What are some of the functionalities that we see in the Power Platform? Or sorry, Power Pages. Here we go. Security agent. Agents everywhere. If you attended last week, we have agents kind of being suffused everywhere. Microsoft told us at the beginning of the year this was the year of agents. So we have an agent over here to help us as administrators. We have something called the security agent. So what the security agent is going to help us do is configure roles, permissions, and authorization for websites when it comes to our Power Pages. So the security agent is going to allow me as a maker to set up, again, those secure access and controls without needing deep security expertise. It's a lot to keep track of. So it's going to use AI to recommend the right roles and permissions for my data tables. It's going to continuously monitor for misconfigurations I may be set up in my site, helping me avoid risk and ensure compliance and build that customer trust. So the again, AI powered security agent is going to guide me through setting up new roles and data access. I can use natural language prompts here because of course you can. That's how these agents are based. And again, it's going to look at my data schema, my usage patterns, and it's going to suggest optimal access levels such as read only, owner only, admin full control for each table that we have. So it's going to also monitor if I'm being overly permissive with my rules, or if I have unused roles, or if I have excessive access granted to sensitive data. So all sorts of alerts and things, again, to help me as an administrator, as a maker of a Power Page, with some built-in validation and best practices. And I'll take any help and guidance that Copilot wants to give me on that aspect. We also have some insights as well. So we get some recommendations with our Power Pages. So there's a new tab here. Again, this is going to be generally available in October. So no green check yet, but it should be coming very soon here. When I'm in the Power Platform Admin Center and I go to Power Pages, there's a tab there now, or and will be soon, called Intelligent Recommendations. So again, it's going to look at my license consumption across all my Power Pages environments. It's going to flag any environments that are nearing or exceeding their capacity. It's also going to make some suggestions for how I can correct those issues. So it's going to give me those clear recommendations, again, to help me manage my capacity effectively, basically. So again, this actions page is in the Power Platform Admin Center. It's going to provide those recommendations to optimize our Power Platform tenant. It's going to analyze all of our managed environments and the apps in those environments within our tenant. And again, make those recommendations to improve our security, reliability, and overall health. So again, way to be proactive and get those best practice recommendations. Again, that's just going to help us be stronger when we're building our Power Pages. We also have something called a security scan. Again, this is something promised in October, no green check, but should be here very shortly. A way to schedule a security scan to keep my site secure from threats. So this is a scan that can be a dynamic scan that will find weaknesses, possible threats to our site stability. I can run the scan to evaluate the security level of the site. I'm going to get a report with the results and the checks, and I can review suggestions for what I can do next. So I'll get that report. I can download it as a PDF and then take some of those recommended actions, again, all in the name of improving my security with my Power Page. This one is also, I think, really cool for any of you who have built Power Pages. It's annoying that I have a separate role. I have security, and then I also have web roles that I have to give folks. So what we are going to see in public preview coming in November, no general availability date yet, but what's coming is going to be some enhanced security. So the ability to unify my web role with my Dataverse security role. So this is going to, again, bring some enhanced security for us as an organization. So we're moving that authorization check for access into the data layer. So that's going to improve overall security. When Dataverse is going to centralize that authorization, it's also going to evaluate all of those requests without requiring custom logic at each of those calls. There's also some auditing capabilities that we're going to get here when these merge together. The new model, this new way of giving out access to our Power Pages, provide some auditing capabilities now. So we do not really have that today. This auditing feature currently doesn't exist in our existing model. So Now we have better traceability, better accountability for user actions kind of across the platform. This is also going to be an improvement on performance. So the current model adds overhead because Power Pages is evaluating every user request and applies some permission filters. When we centralize and everything is in Dataverse and it authorizes it that way, it's going to remove some unnecessary round trips and extra time that my user is sitting there waiting to get access. So it's just going to be better performance for our end users as well. And an easier experience for me as an administrator too. So what this feature is going to do is it's going to store a Power Pages user in both the Dataverse system user table and also the contact table. Similarly, each Power Page web role is going to be stored in the Dataverse security role table and the web role table. So it's kind of like they're both here, they're going to work together in concert. I don't need to do anything or migrate data to sync contacts and web role records once this is in place. And when a Power Pager user calls Dataverse, the signed in user's context is going to impersonate those requests instead of using the application user context. No change to how makers are going to configure your data. No need in how we're securing our Power Pages. There won't be a need to change anything for existing customers who are using Power Pages today. So this is just an enhancement that will be coming, again, sort of improving our security, performance, etc. All right, that was it for Power Pages. Now let's move on to Power Automate. So Power Automate, our automation friend that handles our automations across different systems, across the entire Power Platform. So let's talk about some of these features that we're going to see coming soon. Again, this is something we've had in public preview for a while, since April of this year. Should be coming very soon here. No green check yet, but promised in October. Quantifying time and money savings delivered by automations. We're getting the receipts to back up the data, folks. So if you have Power Automates working out there, this feature is going to be a way to prove and calculate how much is this Cloudflow actually saving our organization in time, in money. So what we can basically do is add a user-defined savings rule to each Cloudflow that we create, and then that's going to generate savings at a Cloudflow run. It's going to say, with this run, you've saved this much, essentially. So again, this allows automation owners, makers like ourselves making these automations, to have that return on investment data that maybe our corporate friends are asking for. Like, these automations actually help us. Yes, we have the data. Here is the savings that we achieve through these automations. Hopefully this provides proof. We need to do more automations. They're a good return on investment for us. So we create something called a savings rule. You can see I have a screenshot here where, again, we sort of define the details on the cloud flow on the action bar. That's going to open this up. And then I can define that rule for what this is going to provide in savings. So once this runs, we get like a little card, and then I can click into that card and visualize the savings that were generated by a Cloudflow. On that Cloudflow details page in that card, I can open it up and then again see my trend link and how my automation, the savings it has been providing our organization. Cool stuff. If you're like, yes, I want this, I need to understand this, link at the bottom of the slide to look into that functionality. Again, should be generally available in October here. Some cool things that we can do when it comes to Copilot in Power Automate. I love as much Copilot as I can get in Power Automate. With this functionality, we can create expressions, we can edit expressions, or fix our Power Automate expressions, all just using natural language. So again, I'm invoking Copilot, say, hey buddy, help me out here, hopefully saving me some time in building expressions manually. So with this feature, like I said, you can create complex expressions, edit the existing ones, or submit some natural language prompts. So here I'm saying I want to create an expression. So I use natural language and say what I want my expression to do. It's going to create that expression for me. So grab 5 characters, not 4. It will update that expression for me, and I can click OK and use that expression. I also have the ability to edit. So I can say, fix my expression using natural language. And again, it will give me that suggested expression with my request there. So we talked about process mining. And so we're also getting this process mining integration in our process map when it comes to Power Automate as well. So today, I don't have necessarily process mining, but again, this will be generally available in December here, so just a couple months. Today, without process mining, when I go and monitor my Power Automate, I can see how it's run. I can see how it performed. I can see if it failed and any error trends, and I can see top errors grouped together by the error code. That's about it. That's as much as I'm going to get sort of evaluating my Power Automate flows that I have. But we now have this ability to use a one-click process mining, and I now have the ability to get some more research into how my flow is performing, how they're being operated, and it can look for opportunities for improvement, maybe other automations and digitalization that we could be doing. So again, this process mining capability in Power Automate is going to work with that existing Microsoft Power Platform ecosystem. Again, give me kind of that end-to-end solution and enable faster business decisions. So again, we're going to be extracting event data from our system records. It's going to visualize those processes happening in our organization, and again, allow us to customize that process mining report, compare processes, determine the root cause of inefficiencies, monitor KPIs. So overall, process mining capability is going to be kind of this valuable tool for businesses that want to know, how efficient are my Power Automates being? Where can I optimize this? So some cool stuff that we have there. Next up, we are going to, yeah, seeing it in the process map is nice. Next up, we are going to talk about debugging into condition actions at runtime. So today, we maybe have a condition action that runs in Power Automate. Right now, all it does is say it ran successfully or it didn't. It doesn't really give me a lot more than that. So it's really hard to debug and sort of understand, like, if it failed, why did it fail? What happened? So we now are going to see in December, generally available, more detailed results around those condition actions that we have at runtime. So when a condition action runs in Power Automate, it returns, again, kind of only that true false output. So if it didn't run as expected, especially if it was a more complex condition that I had written out, it's hard to troubleshoot. It's hard to understand where it was failing. So with this, in December, it's going to, again, sort of simplify that debugging experience. So it's going to look at the condition after our flow runs. I'll be able to see some detailed results for how each row in the condition, including its values and dynamics content, its expressions. So again, I can sort of see which part of the condition isn't working as expected. So it gives me a little bit more visibility into what's failing here so I can troubleshoot a little bit easier. And again, hopefully get that corrected more quickly. We also have the ability when it comes to Power Automate, if we can configure Entra in a hybrid experience for our hosted machine groups when it comes to working with our Power Automate. So machine groups will now allow hosted machine group bots to enroll both on-premise using Active Directory or Microsoft Entra. Why does this matter? So in a scenario where I may be connecting to an old system that only had Active Directory, it allows me to still use Active Directory for some of those other systems that I'm connecting to. This can also be helpful when I want to manage my devices with a group policy. This is a way that I can handle that too. So this is functionality that we will see coming in January of 2026. If you want to learn more about this with desktop Power Automates, again, have a link on the slide here to get into that hosted machine groups information. I like this functionality, the ability to reference previous prompts in Copilot. So if I'm using Copilot to help me author a Power Automate, I've maybe typed in some very detailed instructions, didn't quite give me what I wanted. I can go back to those previous instructions and it's going to have that contextual memory of what we've been talking about. So when I'm building flows, I can reference previously provided prompts. So I don't have to repeat and input that and tweak it a little bit and try a little bit differently. So again, it's going to make that automation and creation more intuitive and efficient. So some of the key enhancements here, again, that we're going to be seeing generally available in November. I'm going to get some contextual understanding. Copilot's going to retain those details from the earlier prompts as we've sort of been going through this, such as file paths, parameters, or objects. So again, I don't have to retype all of that. I can just refer back to a previous prompt that we used. Obviously, this is going to lead to some efficiency. So simplifying, again, some of those complex workflows by removing that need to retype that information across multiple steps. I can just use it again. And again, that's hopefully going to provide improved accuracy. I didn't have to retype it again. So consistency and minimizing errors here. And also it's going to be hopefully an intuitive user experience. So again, kind of a smoother, smarter automation creation with kind of minimal effort, again, while we're working with Copilot in Power Automate. We can also automate browsers without extensions. This is an option that we can choose. Why might you choose to use this? So Power Automate for desktop lets you automate browsers without requiring an extension. So we have a new action that is called the launch browser action, and it's going to be an option for us to choose between whether I want an extension-based automation or a direct browser control. Direct browser control uses native browser drivers for our interactions. So again, this is going to also give us an advanced failover setting. Again, adding to that reliability and automatically switching to the next available method if the default method fails. So if I had it set that I wanted it to be a direct control to extension, again, it can fall over to the other option if we need to. Again, this update is going to hopefully simplify our deployments, improve our automation speeds, and again, reduce points of failure for both individual makers and for us as an organization in general. All right. Let's talk about Copilot Studio. So Copilot Studio is where we are building agents. Agents, again, the theme of 2025. So there are some enhancements here to help me as I am building some agents. So agents are the future. I absolutely agree, Allison. So you can configure custom agents, again, to perform actions or call topics in response to something happening using event triggers. So unlike topic triggers, which require user input, event triggers basically let my agent act autonomously. So I'm going to give it some criteria when this happens. This is what I want you to do. And again, it can just act autonomously for us. So we can now create triggers for autonomous agents that run with end users' credentials. You can build an agent that operates entirely in the background, triggered by external events, and then share it with end users so they can configure the agent to run on their behalf. So what this means for me as a maker, I can create an agent, I can add that event trigger, I can configure the trigger to run on end user credentials instead of mine. that's a big deal for security, right? Like I, as an administrator and maker, may have more access to data. I don't want to use my credentials for this autonomous agent. I want my end user to use their credentials. So again, they're going to operate on that user's behalf. So this is kind of some exciting functionality, again, that should be generally available in November here. So this is some cool stuff that we are going to be able to use. We can also analyze the impact of our agents, right? We're looking for receipts again here, right? I want to show the impact of my agent and how it's been helping folks. So we have a business impact in Viva Insights. So you can now analyze the impact of your agents that you've created in Viva Insights. So this is this reporting tool that we can use. It's going to give me a consolidated report that's going to show usage of my agent, business impact trends across all of my Copilot Studio agents. I can also see key stats like the hours that it's saved, its usage analytics, and resolution rate at the tenant level. But you can also drill into an individual agent and also see the details of how that agent is performing. So the report is going to use regular usage data that Copilot Studio sends to Microsoft 365. And by default, this feature is already enabled for me. So if I have at least 50 Microsoft 365 Copilot licenses, and I have at least one agent, this report is already there for me and collecting the data on that single agent or all of the agents as I start building more into my tenant. So again, a studio agent in a production environment, again, is going to start giving me the insight. So where I access this is going to be in the Power Platform Admin Center. The feature, like I said, automatically enabled once we meet kind of those thresholds. And then I do also need a specific role. So I need to be a user with an Insights Analyst role in Microsoft 365. Then I can view that studio agent report in Viva Insights. So as an administrator, I can turn off the report for the Power Platform Admin Center if I don't want people to access it. But if your Copilot Studio data is in a different geographic location, doesn't matter, it's all going to be here. So again, it's giving me kind of that full picture. How are my agents performing? What is the return on investment we are getting? I can also block the ability for maker provided credentials for authentication. So this is kind of a nice enhancement as well and more security. So like I said, I can create agents that are using my maker credentials. So it's going to work for everybody because I made it. But maybe I don't want that, or maybe I don't want other makers in my organization to even have that option to set up an agent with maker provided credentials. So this is a governance tool that we can use to say, actually, I don't want to allow that. So we can restrict how agent tools are going to be authenticated. So it lets me as an administrator disable the use of maker provided credentials for all tools in an agent, ensuring that only end user credentials can be used for authentication. So again, it's going to be adding a little bit more control over an agent author and maker. So they can no longer embed their own credentials into an agent's tools. They have to use that end user that we were talking about a little bit earlier. So again, it's a way for us to sort of enforce organizational policies, again, around identity management if we want to lock it down a little bit further. Group files is kind of some interesting enhancement as well. So I want my agents to perform efficiently and quickly. And one of the ways that I can do that is I can give it a little bit more context. Like I can provide it a lot of files. The more files I have, the longer it takes to run through everything. So what if I grouped those files together in a way that it would make it easier for the agent to run through that knowledge source? So it's a way to, again, sort of tweak and improve my agent's performance. It's going to reduce irrelevant responses. Like if we have a lot of data out there for our agent and it's kind of similar or generic, it's maybe not giving me the most accurate response. And so I want to really hone in on that. And we have all of this documentation already. So let's talk about the scenario that we have on our slide here. So an airline wants to build a bot for their customers to come in and be able to interact with that bot and ask questions. And a lot of their questions are usually asked around baggage policies, but those policies really vary on whether it's international or domestic travel, if they're a premium customer, which bags are free for them. We have all of those policies. So with this functionality, I can group those files together. We're going to create a file group. It's just going to be that collection of PDF where each of those baggage policies is written out in detail. And then I'm just going to tell the agent, use this for baggage information. Here are the PDFs that we have uploaded here. And this is what you use. This is the context. This is where I want you to start whenever somebody is asking a baggage question. So again, it's kind of a way to really gate the information, and again, hopefully provide better parameters so my agent can provide better detailed information. So it's kind of a categorization, a way for my agent to sort of sort through all of the information it has access to, kind of a categorical way. So hopefully speed up that improvement. When I create a file group, there are some minimums here. I need to have at least 2 files. The most files I can put into a group is 500. So 500 PDFs on all of our baggage policies. It does require that I put in instructions on how the agent should use the variables within that group file. And then again, it will give me a spot where I say, and then these are those PDFs for those baggage files. So again, just a way to help our agents be more effective in the responses that they're giving more quickly. And again, hopefully that enhances user trust when they're working with our agents. We also have an increase here. So one of the things that you can do, you can add knowledge to your agent using SharePoint. We had an cap on that at 200 files. But again, starting October 6th, green check, this is available now. You can have up to 1,000 files in your SharePoint list. So that's a combination of individual files, folders and subfolders, multiple knowledge sources for SharePoint document uploads. Again, I can have up to 1,000 now as I'm adding knowledge to my agent from SharePoint. So some nice enhancement, more functionality we have here. All right. Sometimes, even though I want to automate things and have things run autonomously, sometimes I need to ask a human for some intervention here. Might need some input from a human, right? We're supposed to work with our agents, and sometimes I might need some more hand holding with my human and my agent. So this is a way for us to add some human interventions into our automated processes. We can use some structured forms that are going to be delivered through Outlook, and then organizations can hopefully accelerate resolution times, improve data quality, maintain momentum in complex situations. Like, this is why we need a human here to tell me which direction to go with my process. So what we can do as makers when we are creating our agents, it's a way for me to use the request for information action. So this is something I can insert into my agent, say, you know what, I need to phone a friend. I need to phone a human and tell me what to do next. So it's a way to enable an agent to pause, maybe mid-flow, and maybe collect some missing or critical data from my users. So again, that will hopefully reduce flow failures caused by incomplete input, eliminate the need for sort of manual restarts, and again, ensure that the decisions are made with complete and accurate information. So again, the action is called the request for information. The information that my humans can provide, they can give me text, they can give my agent numbers, email, and binary inputs. Also, likely more functionality is going to be added here as well. Yay, more knowledge. Yes. Testing and debugging. We're getting some enhancements here too, again in November, so any minute now. Testing and improving my agent before I publish. So we're going to get sort of an enhanced testing experience with this functionality here in November. It's I need the ability to test these, right? It helps me handle issues or unexpected behavior in how my action is working. So again, it's giving me an opportunity for some enhanced testing experience. What do we mean by that? So it's going to give me some clear and actionable testing information. It's going to help me understand and implement the necessary steps without confusion. And again, ensure I'm maintaining the context of my ongoing tasks in Copilot Studio or Microsoft 365, again, for a more seamless workflow here. Debugging and recommendations. So there's plugin run history, inline recommendations, and workflow visibility. Those are invaluable features, and these tools are going to help us, again, trace issues, understand the exceptions it's running into, and again, make improvements to our actions. So again, it's giving me a place to do some of that debugging and testing. So we also have the ability to use simulated test data. So I can create a set of test data. I want to verify the functionality of my actions in that controlled environment before I publish it. So again, this is going to be crucial for ensuring correctness, reliability before we go and deploy our agent. So again, we can use some of the testing in our simulated environment so I can confidently deploy my agent. It's going to work okay. So some nice enhancements here too. We also have some analyze action usage for agents. So with enhanced visibility into how users are utilizing the actions within an agent, I can now see some analytics around that and get some insights around that. So again, we're going to see this tab here as we look at my agent and its usage. There's now this insight tab here. It's going to give me a little bit in more information here. So I can understand those usage patterns, again, look for areas of improvement for my agent, optimizing its performance. Again, by looking at the data and the recommendations, I can make some decisions and proactively try resolving some issues. And again, continuously refine and improve those experiences as people are using my agent. So metrics that they're going to show. It'll show me answer rate for my agent, the action usage rate, and the error rate. So this is going to give me kind of a view into how users are interacting with my agent and its actions. And then again, I'm going to get that detailed breakdown of errors, and so I can find and troubleshoot and fix some of those issues. So I can see how many times users in my organizations have used the extension over a period of time. That again can give me some information about the experience, the connector, the prompt, and REST API extensions. And again, analyze how often users take each action, which sources they use, and any error rates that they have. So again, all about improving the effectiveness of our agents. So some nice data there that we'll have access to. This one, back in my day, do you remember workflows, kids? Dataverse workflows. And when you were the owner of a workflow and you left the organization and your workflow died, that's kind of the same thing with agents. Agents need an owner. So when an owner leaves or changes roles, my agent is kind of orphaned. He's out there on his own, no one helping him out. So that could be a security risk if no one is monitoring this agent. So again, we now have the ability to change the ownership of an agent. So it's kind of best practice, makes sense. When someone leaves our organization, we should look at the workflows that they own. We should look at the agents that they have authored. And again, make sure we're reassigning those. So I can reassign an agent's owner using PowerShell. So what happens with that is admins, if you're a tenant administrator, if you are a Power Platform administrator or a D365 administrator, you have the ability to use PowerShell to reassign those agents. So what happens when you reassign an agent? New owner gets access to all of the agent's components, standard owner permissions, and they also have delete permissions to that agent now. They're taken over, it's their baby now. New owner is going to get the environment maker security role added for the environment where this agent exists. The previous owner, upon reassign, is going to lose access. Good news here, if you have co-owners on agents, they are unaffected. This is truly just about changing the owner of that particular agent. So again, some nice cleanup capability there. If someone leaves my organization, we can reassign that agent for someone to monitor and take ownership of. All right, let's look at Dataverse. So with Dataverse, makers can select columns that they want their agents to have access to. So again, this is all about giving my agent better answers, the ability to manage my Dataverse cost. So if I'm not indexing the whole environment, I don't need that. We have that capability as well. You can turn off columns that aren't useful for an agent, like system generated default fields, again, to avoid kind of that over indexing and storage costs. Again, we are boosting performance here with fewer columns for agents to have to reason over, or columns that are kind of similar. I can make sure the agent is just using the right columns for the data that it needs. We can also monitor batch workloads with Azure Monitor Application Insights. So this is specifically around finance and operations. So again, I will see some monitoring and telemetry options. Again, that will give me signals around when my batch started, when it stopped, if there was any throttling or failure, the batch queue and batch threads that were a part of it. Again, I'm getting some analytics around that. So if you're using finance and operations, we again have an Azure Monitor application. We have some insights that are available to you as well. Restoring deleted records. So we've, again, had this in public preview for a while now. 2024 is when we got this one. General availability, January 2026. Basically, you have the ability to set your retention policy. Um, it's up to 30 days is you have that configurable, and less than 30, max is 30. But again, it's a way for me to restore deleted records, whether it was done manually or we had a batch delete job. It doesn't matter how they were removed. It's a way for me to restore that data. So again, general availability coming January 2026. We also have the set retention policy when it comes to system jobs. So every time a flow runs or a workflow runs and it completes successfully, it holds on to those, and that can take up storage. And if we have lots of flows and automations, that can really impact performance and storage. So what we are seeing now available to us, if you go into the Power Platform Admin Center and go to Set Retention Policy for System Jobs and Deletions, you can come in and you can say, yes, I want to delete those system jobs. If they were successfully completed, I'm only going to hold on to it for a day. So you could choose that as a custom day. You have options of 30, 60, 90, or 180 days. And so for each of those runs, as they're sort of filling up your logs, you can decide, let's just have the system clean those out. If it's a successful job, I don't need to hold on to it. If it's a failed job, maybe I hold on to it for 30 days. If it was a canceled job, maybe we hold on to it a little bit longer. You now can set those thresholds. Again, this will hopefully improve that system performance and save up on storage and not having to go in and run and look for those and clean those out. We can have the system take care of it for us. All right, just a couple more slides left on governance and administration. We have the ability to block core connectors. Now, we did not before. If it was SharePoint or Dataverse, they just had access to those connectors. But maybe I want to be a little bit more hardcore about that. I don't want this environment to have access to those core connectors. So now we can manage that. You can go into your environment. You can create an environment group, and then this is where you can control and block any connectors. Also, adding new connectors are now being added as blocked to begin with, which I think is a nice enhancement here too. Instead of just, you added it, of course it's on. We go in and we turn it on where we want it on for those specific environments. So again, some enhancements here around security. We'll have the ability from the Power Platform Admin Center to see my Copilot Studio page. On that Studio page, this is where I have kind of my inventory of all the agents that we have created. So again, managing those orphaned agents, ensuring they're compliant, the ability to keep a tidy tenant, all of that I will see here from, again, that admin experience of the Power Platform Admin Center, checking in on my agents and kind of seeing that whole library that we have of the agents that we've created. I have the ability to extend firewall IP firewalls to Copilot Studio. This is a way for me to say you can only work with your agent and work with your agent when you come from these particular IP addresses. So again, it's a way for me to further block and lock down even where people can access and work with these agents. I can control that with firewalls. We also have the ability to mask sensitive data. Now, if you're like me, you've been around for a while, and you're like, isn't this column level security? Kinda, but different. With column level security, it's either you have access to it or you don't, and you can update it or you can't. With this, we truly are putting a mask over sensitive data. So maybe I have people's phone numbers, but that's personally identifiable information. I really don't want them to have people's phone numbers. We can put a mask on that to say, I just want to show their last 4 digits or the last 4 digits of their credit card or social security number. What this means is that mask applies in grids, forms, with Copilot agents and Excel, reporting and exporting. Today, you will see a little eyeball next to your masked data fields. And as a system administrator, I can click the eyeball and see the full phone number. Today, as of November 5th, 2025, only system administrators, but coming soon, the ability to set that up for other users. Like maybe there's an exception. Joanna does have the ability to see phone numbers for people. She can use that eyeball to unmask it. So I put together a little chart using my friend Copilot to tell me what are the key differences from column level security versus masking rules. When would I use one versus the other? Added that to the slide here too for you so you can review that masking functionality. All right, our last slide to talk about here is the ability to permit or deny guest access to an environment. So again, this is something we've had in public preview since November of last year. No green check yet, but again, just check this today. Should be any minute now, the ability to decide who has guest access. I can approve or deny that and configure that per my environment. Went 2 minutes over, but we had lots to cover. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope you all had some good tidbits that you found, things that you're excited about. Thanks everyone for attending. Glad to talk to you about what's new and exciting in Power Platform. Thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day.